Welcome back to Genesis Sais Quoi. Today we're diving deep into the intersection of science and soul with a guest who truly embodies the Genesis Sais Quoi of healing. Cela Patras is the visionary founder of Melody Turned Therapy LLC. Now, Cela isn't just a musician. She is a profound force for healing, holding a master's from Vanderbilt University, an incredible triple major from SMU in music therapy, biology, health, and society. As a board-certified music therapist with advanced training in neurologic music therapy, she uses evidence-based techniques to help the brain rewire and find its way back to wellness. From her time at world-class pediatric hospitals like Cook Children's to her groundbreaking work in her career, Cela has dedicated her life to turning the melodies we love into the therapy we need. Please welcome to the show, Cela. Cela,
yes.
Thank you for being here today.
I'm so happy to be here.
You're amazing. After all the research I've done, I'm like, what can't this girl do?
Stop.
So I'm just really excited to talk and share just the amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you.
So let's just jump in. You have a fascinating background in biology and neuroscience from SMU. Oh my gosh. Please take a moment for that. That's amazing. Was there a specific scientific discovery about the brain that made you say, I have to use music to treat this?
There wasn't a specific study,
Okay.
but one that always comes to mind when I think, wait, this is actually so crazy that I'm able to do this. Have you heard of Gabby Gifford?
No.
She either was like a congresswoman or US representative, I can't remember. About 10 years ago, she was shot in the head. She survived. But she was shot specifically in the part that allows her to speak. So she could understand, but she couldn't respond. But because music engages the whole brain, it's okay that she was missing that part. She could still sing. And so she was actually flown to Houston to work with a neurologic music therapist to relearn how to speak through singing.
This is crazy. Okay, that's okay. So then what?
So now she can speak again. They would use songs that the music therapist would create for her. And these would be like, I say songs, but they're really sentences she would use in day-to-day life applied to a melody. And they would work on getting that voice out, getting the singing out, because that's something that she could do in some ways more than speaking. And then once she could sing it well, they would then transfer to the speaking instead of singing the melody, talking it out.
That's incredible.
It is incredible. It is incredible. She's a huge advocate now for music therapy. So yeah.
And so that was a defining moment for you. When you found out about that, were you like, whoa?
You know, when I got into music therapy, it was by accident. I was in high school. I was part of a club where I worked with kids with special needs and teaching them instruments and stuff like that. And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't know what music therapy was. And I actually called Bryce and to see if I could, learn more about their music department. And I told the admissions coordinator what I did in high school. And she said, actually, you should look at music therapy. That sounds right up your alley. And there's a school not far from you, because I was 20 minutes from SMU, living 20 minutes away. And so I looked it up and I was like, okay, like this sounds like something I'm interested in. My whole goal is to go to med school. And at that time, that's why I did the 3 majors, is one of them was a pre-med. And then life happened, so that's been kind of delayed. But I'm here doing music therapy, hoping to combine music and medicine in my future practice.
Wow. That's incredible.
Thank you.
I love how, a couple things you just said. I love how it kind of found you.
Yeah.
Through the things that you just love to do, working with others.
Yes.
And if you don't mind me asking, how many instruments do you play?
I play 3. I play bass as my primary, double bass. And then I've been playing piano since I was a kid, but not my primary. And then I learned guitar in college. It's a requirement for music therapists to be proficient on piano, guitar, and voice. Like, I can sing in tune. I wouldn't call myself a vocalist, though.
You're like, but we can do it.
Yeah.
So, and then through talking with them, they were just like, this is what you should, and you're like, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
This makes sense.
Exactly. That made sense, and the scholarships made sense.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Exactly. so many scholarships. So I was like, okay, no brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, well, apparently a lot of brainers because you were like working hard, you earned those scholarships.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
yes, that's absolutely amazing. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
What was the specific aha moment that convinced you to move from working in large hospitals like Cook Children's to starting your own practice, Melody Turned Therapy?
I'm going to be so frank. My aha moment was that I wasn't getting employed anywhere.
That's amazing.
I was doing my master's at Vanderbilt, and at that time I was applying to jobs like constantly. And either I would get ghosted or I'd like get the interview. One place after the interview was like, we decided to not hire at all for this position. And another place said, this is so great. I think we'll work well together. You'll hear from HR. And 2 hours later, I did hear from HR. They said, we're not going through with you. And I was like, okay, this is crazy. So I was like, take out the middleman, It goes to the recruiter, and then it goes to another department, then it finally goes to the music therapy department. By that time, a lot of these people don't understand music therapy. So if I'm not picking up on the words that they understand, then they're not going to let me pass through the next round. And there's such a disconnect in that application process. So I just started my own thing.
I love that. So you were literally like, I'm going to build the table and I'm going to take my own seat.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Because you're like, I know I'm capable. I know I can do it. I
Yes.
know I have the proper trainings and certifications.
Yes, exactly.
Build it and they will come.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so then how did that start for you? Were you just like, okay, we're just going to look into it. I'm going to dive into creating this?
It was kind of a huge learning curve for me.
Really?
Because of course, you have to get your business license, and then you have to find a space, whatever. But when you're working with vulnerable clients, you also have to get malpractice insurance. You have to make sure your consent forms, cover everything that you need it to cover legally. Coming up with intake forms, like, wait a second, what exactly do we need to focus on right now? It was a lot of thinking. It was a lot of hard work in that area because I was in completely new territory.
You're over here like, I know that this is a need. I know I can do it, but I'm having to learn on the job.
Yes, exactly. It is learning on the job 100%.
The fact that you were saying, I'm going to take this leap of faith into what I can do.
Yes. Yeah. It was a huge leap of faith. Yes.
When you first registered that LLC, when you first did it, like, what was your drive to say, like, I know I can do this. I'm building this amazing thing.
Oh my gosh. I actually didn't know if I could do it.
Really?
Yeah, I felt very scared and actually delayed opening because I felt so much like, what if I can't do this? I delayed. And then finally I was like, okay, let me get the business license because I had everything else. And then I got that in May. And then I was like, no, the website's not good enough. Let me not open until I get the website. And then so finally I opened in July. My mom has been my biggest supporter. She's like, you can do. I felt so nervous because I was like, I've only been in hospitals, and she's like, come on, like, you got this.
Mama knows what's up.
Yeah, exactly. So that really helped me.
Yeah.
And even now, sometimes I feel like, I'm still learning on the job, and she helps me a lot to feel like I'm going towards the goals that I'm setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you find that you kind of feel you struggle with imposter syndrome?
100%. Yeah. Which I hadn't expected, but I guess it makes sense. I think a lot of high achievers experience that.
Yeah. Do you find yourself saying like overthinking? Kind of that's the vibe I'm getting from you.
100% overthinking. 100%. I'm writing emails and I'm sitting on them for like a day because I'm like wondering if I should change a certain word. Now I'm like, do you know Lynn's makeup? Do you know Lynn's? She's a makeup artist.
Okay.
Anyways, she has this series, and one of the things that she would say during her videos is, "Don't think, just do," and she just put the eyeliner on, like the wing liner.
Yes, I love this.
Exactly. So that's what I'm like telling myself, don't think, just do. Press enter, press send. Like, don't think, just do. Like, post that out on Facebook. So
yes, and I think there is something to be said. Like, we just assume when people own businesses and are doing amazing things like you're doing, you just have this about you where you just know what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the truth is,
I actually don't.
You moved your practice from Dallas to Houston.
Yes.
To open Melody Turned Therapy. What was it about this community that inspired you to plant your roots here?
Going back to my goal of going to med school, that was my primary reason of coming to Houston. I was finishing up with Vanderbilt and my mom was moving. We lived together. So we were both like, okay, it's a transition for both of us. Like, we can go anywhere if we wanted to. And there's so many med schools here. That's why I chose Houston specifically. And I've come to love it. Specifically the people, not the traffic. It's crazy, and the drivers also scare me. But
I mean, the people are great, but when they're behind the wheel,
but when they're behind the wheel, something changes. Different. But yeah, the people have been great. The parents are so interested in getting stuff for their kids, and the community has also supported me too. Yeah, without having to put my name out there all the time, it's like, oh, they know me, like. They found me, so.
It's just the beginning of all of the things that are happening. You are an advanced trained neurologic music therapist, NMT for short. For our audience, can you explain what NMT specifically helps the brain rewire itself for things like motor skills, speech? Can you just kind of break that down for us?
Yes. So NMT is the use of about 20 to 26 specific techniques. Once you're trained, you're able to use those techniques or whatever. But a large group of people that benefit from NMT are like stroke survivors, Parkinson's, dementia patients, and physical rehab patients. The interesting thing about music in this area is that the music is used to engage the brain in ways that don't really require the patient or the client to process, unlike in talk therapy or when I'm working with kids or something. If we have a lyric analysis, there's a lot of cognitive processing. But with NMT, you apply this musical stimulus, kind of like the Gabby Gifford example. You're applying a song, and she just has to practice singing, and that is the work. That is the therapy, is just that singing the sentence. And then the next step is to remove the melody and then start speaking again. And I think you had a question to jump the gun about, like gait training and things like that and how a metronome can help. It's just putting on that metronome is the stimulus that kind of connects your brain to a rhythm, which we call entrainment. And this rhythm is very natural and in the body that the person can easily now move without having to think about it. I guess that's the whole point, is you don't really have to think about it too much.
It's kind of what we talked about at the beginning. It's like, do, don't think.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, think about it,
just do it. Exactly. It is exactly like that. So when you turn on these metronomes, like people with Parkinson's, they shuffle a lot. They have issues with their gait, or physical rehab patient, they all may be nervous to start walking. But once you get that metronome on, it's like the body just knows. The body engages that motor cortex and can anticipate the next beat, which means anticipating the next step. And then exactly, it's really incredible things. Yeah,
I'm blown away. I guess I've always known that music is therapeutic, from my minimal understanding. Music is therapeutic, and I know for me, I'm a music feeler. Like, I want to feel all my feelings. When I'm sad music.
Exactly.
I would cry.
Turn it up. Yeah.
Right, but to think on this deep, physical level, like your body can shut its brain down and go click.
Yes,
click.
Exactly. It is incredible. I'll have to send you some videos of.
I would love to.
Yeah, of this happening.
I would love to see that. That's incredible, actually.
Yeah, it is.
How does it work with speech at that point? You said it's just because you did say it's like you're singing it and then you shorten it. I need eggs. I need eggs.
It's kind of like that. The music therapist will work on kind of making a sentence, hearing how the sentence flows, just how I said that, hearing how the sentence flows. All of a sudden we can make a song, la 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 la. You know what I mean? And so if there's a oh, I need eggs. So now it's saying, oh, I need eggs, and then you just kind of decrease the singing part of it. I might be butchering this. So Dr. Tao, who leads the trainings, if you're watching this, Please forgive me because he knows the ins and outs. He's very specific.
How do you explain to a parent or a client how something as simple as a drum beat can actually help a stroke survivor or a child with developmental delays walk better?
I was thinking about this, and I think the best way to explain is to just imagine or do it. Like, imagine turning on a song, or just turn on a song and see how you move. Like actively try to not walk in rhythm with that music on and see how hard it is.
Yeah.
And I think then you'll get a better understanding of why metronomes work, why a beat works, why music works, when you feel how unnatural it is to move against it when it's on.
Okay, I love that you just said that. It is unnatural to move against it when it's on.
Yeah.
Wow. So your body just, it's almost like it connects.
I think the big thing is rhythm. You know, the heartbeat, breathing cycles, walking cycles. There's even just in nature, it's not just human body. I think the whole world has a rhythm. When you're out of rhythm, when you're not able to move your legs like how you want to, or the signals are just not going, having kind of a crutch rhythm, which is the metronome, can help you get back into that movement again.
I love that. And I when you also just said like your heartbeat, it reminded me, I'm somebody who has overcome anxiety.
Okay, slay.
And thanks. I think back to the times when I am out of rhythm and I can feel that bump, bump,
yes.
bump, bump, and or,
yes.
and going back to getting my heartbeat to that bump, bump, like by breathing techniques or whatever you use, and how. Like, I just associated that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a lot of experience with like anxiety working with music.
I do. A lot of it is with younger kids.
Yeah.
In the hospital, there's a lot of medical anxiety. Sometimes we'll work on like physical ways, physical tools to cope. And these will be songs that have coping tools written into them so that they can remember and practice it. And a lot of the other ways, when I was in the hospital, to help with that, it's just to create a safe space where it's like, we're not going to do anything. Like, no needles, no stethoscope, nothing. It's just instruments. Like, nothing is going to happen that you don't want to happen here. And that can help, decrease the anxiety.
So what are some ways you would, some tools you would give kids to do?
So one thing that I really like, have you heard of kielbasa?
Like the sausage?
No. I forgot that there was a sausage. Similar name. No, spelled differently. I think it's like either K or C.
Okay, so let's just go back. No, I don't know what that is, obviously.
It's an instrument that has a bunch of beads. It kind of looks like...
Oh, is it like a shh?
Not exactly, but that can also help. My favorite is the kielbasa because it has this texture aspect to it where kids can rub their hands against the beads or rub it against their body. And that's like a mindfulness, awareness, sensory. And if you're rubbing it against your body, almost like a massage or something. Yeah. And then you can turn it, you can twist it. It's metal, so you can see the reflection. There's just a lot of presentness when you're, using the instrument. All of these are just very grounding experiences that help with anxiety because, anxiety is all about what's going to happen next, what's happening then, what's happening. If I can't do this, then what will happen? And if they do that, then what will happen? And it's just reconnecting to that present moment can just help stop all of those thoughts or feelings, especially in kids. I think it's more feelings than thoughts.
Yeah. Because they don't always know what these things mean, but they know
there's something going on. Yeah.
Is there anything you would tell them to do if you weren't there with your instruments?
If I wasn't there with them.
Yeah, like, hey, so if I'm not here and you're feeling this feeling, here's something you can do.
Yes. So sometimes I've even recommended to parents like getting a kielbasa or something. Okay. And we also practicing these songs, like sometimes I'll adapt if you're happy and you know it. Clap your hands, and if you're sad or if you're scared, like give yourself a hug or something like that. Yeah, exactly. Things to rub, squeeze, tapping, all of that are useful tools, and this is a way for them to remember and respond in a way that's appropriate to their age and all of things like that. Sometimes it's hard to look at a 4-year-old and say, okay, deep breath. Like, what does that even mean? You know
As an adult, we struggle to regulate ourselves.
Exactly. And if things feel like the end of the world, like, what is a deep breath going to do? But if you can kind of, maybe not distract per se, but it could be viewed as distracting through music or re-engaging, coming back to the present because they're hearing a song that they know and they like, then transferring that familiar song into tools that they can use outside of music therapy is something that, I try to do.
I love all those like tips for parents, because sometimes we're like, it's our job to help them regulate. I mean, we don't know what we don't know.
Exactly.
So kind of, getting those cute little songs, or I say cute little songs, like, if you're sad,
but
yourself or whatever.
It is cute.
It is cute. But doing that, like, it gives us the tools to help them.
Yes, exactly.
So you're helping everybody.
Exactly. That's my hope. That's my hope, that none of my clients stay in music therapy. As much as I love to see them and all of that, it's good news when they don't need it anymore.
Moving from musician to therapist requires a shift in perspective. What was the hardest part of that transition for you?
I really liked this question. When I saw that you wrote it, I was like, she gets it. Because I meet so many musicians, or even like nurses, doctors, that view music therapy as you're just playing music. Or like, that's not any different from what I do Saturday nights with my friends or something. And it actually is very different. The hardest shift for me, what makes it really feel therapeutic, is that you have to be present all the time. It's not easy and it's not always feasible, but you really have to put whatever happened. Like I told you before we started, I didn't sleep. Like, you can't bring that into the session.
Right.
And, oh, I don't like that song, or I don't know the chords, or, I hate bar chords and this song has a lot of them. Like, you can't do that. You have to be 100% present. You have to be 100% adaptable. Okay, if this song has chords I don't know, let's pull them up right now. Like, I need to be trained well enough to figure that out in the moment. Or if this has a bar chord, then I need to figure out in the moment how to transpose it, because right now it's about the client or the patient, whatever setting you're in. And if someone says something that is offensive, or, I feel like this kid is being disrespectful or something, I really can't take that personally. It's all about them. It's all about understanding them, and it's never about you. And that was a big shift. For me, growing up as a musician, it's all about performing. It's all about expressing. It's all about getting that across to the audience, and that's my interpretation of the music or whatever. So, but in music therapy, it's all about the client. It's all about who you're working with.
Yes. And that's very interesting. I love that you said that, because you're right. You're saying so many things that I'm like, I didn't think about that. But when you're a musician, you are expressing yourself.
Yes.
And when you're in therapy, and you have to be quick to switch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because if client or patient, excuse me, is in that moment or can't get there, you have to reroute.
Exactly. You have to reroute. I saw this comment. I'm part of like a bunch of groups, therapist groups, and I saw this comment. This person's not a music therapist. They're a talk therapist. And they were like, I was trying out a lyric analysis, and I thought it might have some harmful effects. Like, I knew this one of the girls in the group didn't like the song or something, but I thought we could just try it out anyways. But by the end of the session, she was self-harming. I was like, so even though you think this is a really great idea, it's not about you. If you know how you have that inkling, you have that gut feeling, something is going to happen, like she can't handle it, like, don't bring it out. You know what I mean? And that's a huge shift that I had to make, because sometimes, like, you see these kids and you're like, just shake the maraca, just say please before you take the instrument, because that's what we're working on.
Yeah.
And it's like, actually, there's a reason. There's a reason things are happening, and it's your job to figure out those reasons. It's not their job to figure out themselves.
Right.
Yeah. I'll tell you one example that I think about often. I was at Cook Children's and doing a group session in the outpatient psych department. And I was working with preteens, like middle schoolers. And we were doing this one music therapy intervention where I provided names of feelings, like jealousy or happy or something. And they had drums, and they had to try to play what that feeling might sound like.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then we all had to guess what they were playing, like what was the feeling that they had. And I had this one kid who from the very start just was like, not like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to do anything. And it was his turn to play, and he had just put his hoodie up, head down on the desk, like totally disengaged. And I was like, okay, I can either choose to be like, fine, you don't want to participate, don't participate, or like figure out what's happening. So I went up to him and I was like, hey, it's your turn, like, you ready to go? And he was kind of, defensive, pushing back. And I said, well, where did you get? And then he said, I don't know. And I realized he can't read. I know this is like an 11 or 12-year-old boy who's struggling to read. And I could have, if I didn't take the moment to put aside whatever I was feeling about how he was interacting with me and the group itself, I wouldn't have been able to help him in that way. It really wasn't his fault. That, and how embarrassing, to admit, oh, I can't read, like, help me. Like, no one's going to say that. You know what I mean? His response was actually makes a lot of sense.
It feels appropriate for the situation.
Exactly,
for him.
very appropriate.
And age and...
Exactly. So we were able to figure it out. I told him the word and he gave it an attempt, and that was huge progress because he was, it feels good to participate. And the whole group then was encouraging him, like, oh yeah, that makes sense that you played it like that. And all of a sudden he's participating, he's accepted, he's validated about how he played and all of that. And so it's so easy to get in, in your head or in your feelings about how a kid talks to you, or even an adult. I've had adults speak to me in ways that I, were very disrespectful. But at the end of the day, your job isn't to be like, bye, Felicia, or whatever. Yeah, you're here to help them. And if that's what happens, that's what happens.
Right. And it's not like we want to write off everyone's behaviors and just be like, oh, I'm just going to accept.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, by not taking it personally.
Exactly. By not taking it personally. Yeah. And if there comes like a time where it's just this person is intentionally, doing what they're doing, you can obviously put a boundary or say, like, I don't think I can help you further. But you have to really think deeply about that. Is that what's happening here? Or is there something else? Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it is therapy.
It is therapy, yeah.
And people sometimes will push back.
Exactly.
Even fun therapies like music and art and like all of those things, people can push back.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel natural all the time.
And that's the beautiful thing about therapy, is that you have a safe space where you can push back and you're not going to be rejected or turned around. Like if I, told that kid, fine, then you skip your turn, like you don't get a chance to play. That's just another adult in his life saying, rejecting him. So in therapy, you can push back and you can be accepted for it still.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful space that you're offering.
Yeah. I feel so enriched when I lead those groups.
You could have changed everything for that kid.
I would love that. Yeah.
I truly mean that. And I'm not trying to be like over deliver the situation, but you just think about one person validating you can change everything.
Exactly.
One person seeing you.
Yeah.
When in a world where you may not feel seen or heard.
Yeah, exactly.
And you offered that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Without sharing names, can you tell us about a specific time a client had a breakthrough? Maybe it was that one or something else. I would love to hear another story that completely took you by surprise. Like, what did that look like in the room? And what did it feel like?
I didn't even think this example I gave, when I read the question, I wasn't even thinking about that example, but it was a huge breakthrough because I wasn't expecting him to participate even when I did ask, what's the word, or do you want to read it together, things like that. It was a huge breakthrough, and I was very proud of that moment. But there are other examples that I thought of. I had another teenager at Cook Children's, and he had a stroke. So it was difficult for him to speak. But the thing about strokes is that you have to start right away working on your skills. Otherwise, there's a high chance that you lose them, or it's going to be much more difficult to reacquire them. And so the doctors wanted him to move. They wanted him to talk. They wanted him to do all those things, and he didn't want to do any of that. And so I was sent in to try to engage him. They're like, okay, find some music therapy. Let's see if that'll work. And it did. We started using games, and I was like, which instrument, this one or that one? And I wasn't forcing him to speak or anything. I was like, you just point your hand or you just look at the instrument, and just giving the freedom to not speak kind of encouraged him to speak. And by the end of the session, he was saying stuff. The doctor was like, called, like, you have to hear him, he's speaking. And
wait, by the end of the session?
By the end of the session, yeah, he was he wasn't talking,
but any improvement is
it was huge. He was speaking.
Stop.
He was. It was kind of hard to understand. It was hard for him to get the words out, but was.
That's incredible.
It was incredible. It feels so meaningful when I can help clients get connected to themselves and feel safe enough to do the things that are good for them.
Yes.
Yeah, like with the group session with that boy, with this stroke patient, and I had another client or patient who came in for an eating disorder. Same thing. She didn't want to do anything. She didn't want to talk to anybody. She didn't want to participate in anything. And I went in thinking she wouldn't want to do music therapy either. And so I introduced myself. I was like, I'll just have to tell her I can come back another day. We don't have to do it today. And so I said, do you want to do it? And I said, do you want to do it? And I'm like almost on my way to pack up all the instruments.
You're like mentally preparing. You're like, I'm already on my way.
I'm already like, I got it. Like, just tell me no and I'll see you next week. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, OMG, let's do it.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's freaking do it. And it just feels exciting when I can get connected with these clients and patients in that way and get something started.
Wow.
Because it's so scary to start.
That's sometimes the hardest part.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think what's lovely, one of the many things that's lovely about you, is when you walk in, you give people the choice.
Yeah, thank you.
The choice to be here.
Yes.
Choice in instrument.
Yes, exactly.
And choice provides safety.
Exactly. You get it. It's so huge. I did a capstone paper in SMU on autonomy and agency, all about choice, all about how we need to give patients, the respect that they know what's going on with them, even if we think we know better, because when we, say that, oh, you need to be talking, you need to be participating. If you're not, you're never going to get better. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, well, now they don't feel safe. Now they don't want to do it. Now they're pushing back because this is how they know how to interact with the world. And you got it, doctor. Now they're not participating. But when you give them choices, it's such a huge breakthrough. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so thankful for what you do.
Thank you.
You're like changing lives out here. You're changing my life right now. Have you ever been in a session where a specific piece of music moved you as much as it moved your client or patient?
I don't know if it's moved me as much. Just again, going back with the therapist role, you really have to put that, if it's moving you, you have to kind of table it until after the session.
Wow, okay.
Unless it's therapeutic, unless like the client's like, I feel seen or I don't want to be in this moment alone, then yeah, bring it out or something. But when I'm thinking about the times where things were very difficult, and those times were at the children's hospitals. At those times, like these parents, these kids, these families are experiencing things that I've never experienced. And these are very unfortunate things that no family wants to experience. So if I start to feel moved and they're already holding so much together for their kid or for themselves, this is not professional. So in those moments, there have been times, yes, where I have been very much touched, but only expressed it after the session. For example, there was one case, this one was really difficult. There was one child, he was not, I think, a preteen, and he had attempted suicide. And he was in the hospital, and because of the way he had attempted, he had a brain injury. And so he was not coherent, he was not understanding where he was not understanding what was going on. And at this time, I had just started my internship, so I was shadowing my supervisor. My supervisor came in and was like, what music does he like? And talked about it and started kind of just softly playing it, just humming it, not really anything too distracting or too disruptive. And the mom went to his bed and just held him and just rocked him, and immediately he calmed down. And it was just so beautiful. I think about that all the time. It was just so beautiful how these people in this moment of stress were able to connect with each other despite it all. And yeah, there are instances where things like that have happened where it's just so incredible. You can't even understand it until you see it, really, the full impact of what witnessing that has.
Made me a little emotional thinking about it. So following that, how do you handle it then if you are not allowing yourself and they don't need you to be with them in that moment feeling? Do you just get in your car and just cry sometimes?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because I would.
100%. 100%. It's, I think, something I wish we were trained more on how to process those things and get through it.
How has your perspective on helping changed since you transitioned from hospital settings to your own private practice?
It feels, before I was part of a team, And if the doctor says, patient's not speaking, we need them to speak ASAP, okay, that's the goal. But then I might have another, on the same floor, the child life specialist saying, medical anxiety, can you help them calm down? They're about to have, surgery, or they're coming out of surgery. Like, that's the focus, okay? Or the nurse is saying, this client, I just know, or this patient, I just know he really likes music therapy. Can you come? There's just a whole different thing going on. You're working with the team. You're working on the goals together. You're adapting to so many different needs. But in a private practice, especially as a solo owner, it's like, okay, like, what am I working on today?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I should figure that out. And there's a lot more.
To make the plans.
I make the plans. Yeah, I make the goals. Of course, I'm talking to parents and I'm saying, what is there a specific reason you thought they should come? And also, like, okay, that's your reason. I'm also seeing this. Like, we can do these things together. And I'm much more in the driver's seat, which feels very different. I think that's where a little bit of the imposter syndrome comes too, because it's like you really are driving what's happening, and unlike in the hospital where it's a group effort.
Yeah. Do you ever find that you start doing something and then you have to kind of pivot? You're like, okay, we're doing this. Not that it's necessarily not working, but it's like I feel like maybe we should try something new. Like, how do those pivots work for you?
They happen all the time.
Yeah.
Every session, every moment, I'm constantly assessing, like, is this engaging? Is this feasible for the client? Is this something we even need to work on? How do I pivot? I think it just really depends on what the client is giving me. If they're like, actually, I want to go play with the stuffed animals. Okay, so maybe the instruments are not really engaging. How can we combine pretend play with music?
Aww.
Exactly. I have one client who I'm doing that with right now. Or it's like, sitting down is kind of hard. We're supposed to be working on mindfulness and relaxation, but sitting down right now is not working. So how can we transfer this into using your body and moving to help you calm down? Like, let's incorporate some stomping instead, because that can get out some frustration.
Yeah.
And then if we have time, or if it's still necessary, we can work on this more gentler self-calming techniques or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of pivoting happening all the time. You have to be able to.
You have to constantly, like, watching and listening and looking around going, okay, like, what do we need to do? Like, what? And your toolbox has to be big. Your emotional toolbox.
Exactly. It has to be big. Yeah. Yeah. But I want to say, I feel like you're doing that right now with me, listening, responding. If I get off topic or whatever, going that way, bringing it back, whatever. So you're doing it so naturally.
Oh, thank you. My emotional toolbox. I didn't even know I had it. For someone listening who feels tone deaf or disconnected from music, how can they still use sound to improve their mental health? Physical health, now I'm learning.
Yes. All the ways. I was thinking about this, and do you know Caleb Heron?
No, oh my gosh, I'm like so disconnected.
It's fine. They're like, I just scroll through YouTube and I find these people. He's a comedian, actor, and has his own podcast. And he was interviewing a friend of his, I don't remember his name, who is an opera singer or has that background but doesn't listen to music. And I was thinking,
interesting.
I know, isn't that so interesting? And so I was kind of imagining if he was here with me and, like, we were trying to use music to engage, but he doesn't want to listen to music, how would we do that? And really, it just depends on, I think the nice thing about music is there's so many aspects. There's lyrics, and there's the physical instrument. There's, music without words, the metronome itself. Yeah. Exactly. So just using that part that speaks to you, if you really want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. Nobody has to listen to music. But if there is something there in the lyric that stands out to you, or if there's something about a certain drum beat that just makes you feel like, okay, I'm getting connected to the rhythm here, like this feels good, then kind of connecting to those smaller elements. You don't have to take the big picture, what you might imagine. Oh, let me turn on a song, but I don't want to listen to music. That's fine. Don't listen to music,
There's other aspects.
There are other aspects, yeah.
So if someone comes to you and they're like, I have no connection to music, you could look at them and say, but we could try to find something.
Yeah, what do you have a connection to? Is it words? If it is, then lyrics? If it's not, then is it the feeling of the instrument? Is it the breathing? If we're just going to do some breathing exercises and I help use, I provide music to help facilitate that. It doesn't have to be focused 100% on singing or dancing or something. Like,
right.
Someone may imagine music therapy to look like. It can look like so many different things.
Yeah, but I think that's the beautiful thing. What you just said is like music therapy can look like so many different things.
Yeah.
And it's not just anyone who has this idea that it might just look like we're sitting and playing an instrument or singing together. It's like we can look like whatever helps us get through this and helps you get to your goals.
Yes, exactly.
And you have to be trained up on like so many things.
So many things, yeah. And then you also have to be willing to be like, actually, I'm not going to use my training here. Sometimes music therapy is not even doing music in the session. Sometimes it's just sitting with the client and helping them, like what we talked about, have that choice and the autonomy and the safety. And one music therapist commented saying, I've had parents continue to bring their clients, even though I'm telling them we're not really doing music, these past few weeks. And they're like, I'm just happy that they're talking to somebody. I'm just happy they're getting out of the house and they're looking forward to doing something with somebody. And when they're ready, they will participate. It's just getting there. We have to be patient.
Yeah. Which goes back to the difference in musicians.
Exactly.
And therapists.
Exactly.
Girl.
You get it. She gets it.
I'm trying over here. I'm learning so much. This is amazing. You spend your day being a profound force for healing. In a moment when you feel out of tune or overwhelmed, what is the first thing you do to find your own harmony again?
Take that breath.
Yeah.
Get connected again to how I'm feeling physically. And it is a very bodily experience of calming back down. I have this one client and he loves the pre-recorded music on the keyboard. And
like the annoying, like, I'm sorry to say annoying, but my kid has a keyboard. So
yeah.
It's like the...
Exactly. And it like plays for 15, 20 seconds and the next one. And he's like, I want to hear it. Like, don't touch it. Don't turn it off. When we first started, I was like, okay, but if we keep listening to the music, how are we going to do any music therapy? He was very strong. He'd push my hand away and like keep it there, hold my hand away from the keyboard. And I got very frustrated. I was like, very frustrated. Yeah,
because you're a human.
I'm a human, yeah. And immediately I just had to take that breath and I had to say, okay, like, if he wants it, this is his first session. This is something that is working for him. This is something that's engaging for him. Like, pause. Again, going back to what does the client need versus what do I think the client needs. I may not be right. And to accept that maybe this isn't the right thing that we need to do right now. Turn off the music is not the right choice.
Right.
And we kept the music on. He listened the whole 30 minutes of the session. We're just listening to pre-recorded music. But by the next time he came, we were able to talk more. Do you want to play or do you want to listen? And he communicated, I want to play. And I'm thinking, how can we play if the music's going? But this is all like a team effort. He's telling me I want to play. He's telling me he wants the music on. Okay, how do we work together to get this going? So then I'm like having to use my oral skills, which are not the strongest, to be like, okay, let's try to play as quickly as we can with each song that comes up. And I don't know all these songs, and they're all, I think like some Shakira song is the song that starts. I'm like, what note is this? Okay, let's do hand over hand. Let's figure out the key we're in. Play along as best we can. Okay, next song. Okay, thank God it's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Like, I know this one.
We can do it.
Yeah, we can do it. But now we're like working together. Now I'm understanding what he's wanting. He's wanting something that he understands and enjoys, which is these songs. And he's also wanting to play it so we can work together and get that going for him.
You work hard and you train yourself to stay regulated as much as you can.
Exactly.
Remove your feelings. And you're still human. You're going to creep into those moments.
Exactly.
When you have to go, okay, I have to regulate.
You have to. And I think anyone who has kids or has worked with kids can understand, like, you're just like, stop running, like sit down, like stop screaming.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I have no idea what that's like. I never.
Right,
I know. Not me.
And I think it's a tool all people have to use.
Yeah.
It's a human thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're doing a great job. Just the fact
Thank
that you're
you.
able to regulate in those hard moments.
Thank you.
Just like hard.
It is hard, yeah.
You offer a music-based support group for those with eating disorders. Why is music such a uniquely powerful tool for building identity and managing meal-related anxiety?
I love this question.
I was I was blown away when I was doing my research on this because I research and that's how I come up with questions, and I was like, I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yes. Yes. I love working with clients who have eating disorders. I love helping them discover who they are. One aspect of the eating disorder is that it becomes like this voice, this part of you. You're fat, you're ugly, like you shouldn't eat this. You're bad for eating this. It's bad things are gonna happen, whatever. And that kind of becomes the identity. And they have to, when they're working on recovering, it's a hard work of saying no. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? What do I like this food? Actually, I do, or something like that. Or do I want to eat, or do I not want to eat? What am I feeling that? And it's not the eating disorder. That's telling me. And so there's an identity creation being built when you're healing and going through recovery to help you kind of understand who you are and how you want to relate to food, not how the eating disorder. That's kind of like how you can talk about it. The eating disorder tells you, and
give it its own entity.
Exactly, its own entity.
You.
It's not you. Exactly, exactly. And a lot of times too, I'm working with teenagers or young kids, preteens who are beginning at that age where they should be discovering who they are. And along with having the eating disorder, then they're having parents or teachers or whatever telling them, you're misbehaving, you're not listening, you don't want to, like, you could eat if you wanted to. You're doing this to yourself, blah, blah, blah. And these are all aspects of their identity that they're growing into, unfortunately. And so I love to use music therapy to introduce ways for them to kind of figure out who they are. I do two primary things. And of course, we can do anything, but I love to introduce two options. We can start with learning ukulele, and this helps me to assess kind of how they're feeling in the moment. We can do ukulele, or we can do like music. We can try out the instruments and kind of improvise. And ukulele is much more controlled. It's much more structured.
Yeah, it's a little.
Exactly. You're playing the note, and it's supposed to sound like this, and there's not a lot of room for making a mistake. And so if I see a client choosing that, I'm like, okay, we're going to focus on a more structured approach to figuring out what's going on. And I'll have teenagers who they can't press, they're learning an instrument. It's hard. But in their mind, they're like, they should get it done ASAP. It should be perfect the moment they put their hands on the instrument. And so when that happens, I'm working on the identity. Okay, like, why is that frustrating? When we work through things, when we're learning an instrument, it takes time. Like, what other things take time? Things like that, and helping them realize, okay, I don't need to be perfect. This is reality. And I like to tell them, I myself, they always look to the people around them, and in those sessions, they look to me, oh, but you can play it. Oh, but it's so easy for you. And I have to be like, I sucked at this. I still suck at it sometimes. Like, it's not easy. Yeah. And we're all learning all the time, even for me. And sometimes I'll even purposely mess up. Just so that they... And then on the other hand, I'll use music improvisation to kind of help these clients explore what's going on in the moment. Because in improvising, you don't have to be, but it kind of guides you towards, okay, this note now. You're not really thinking 10 notes ahead because you don't know what is happening now to get you there.
Oh, I love that. Just like
exactly.
The next thing.
Exactly. So when we're working on improvising, we're working on being mindful, we're working on, again, with eating disorders, a lot of anxieties there, working on being okay with mistakes. I just played this note and it sounded so bad. I didn't think it was going to sound like that, but the next note is here, like we got to keep moving. So not to hold on to those feelings, those past mistakes, being able to let it go and feel okay with that. And to look back once the improvisation is over and be like, actually, I just did that. Like, I just made a song. I just played an instrument and I didn't know I could do that. Yeah. Those kinds of things. I wrote in Vanderbilt, I wrote a paper on identity also. This is kind of a metaphysical or philosophical concept theory that I'm thinking of with music therapy. But there's this idea by this philosopher Merleau-Ponty, but his idea is that we have this interbodily resonance that, like, you smile at a baby, all of a sudden the baby's smiling. Well, why is the baby smiling? They're kind of resonating with what you're giving them. Yeah. The baby's smiling, now you're smiling. Well, why are you smiling? You know, it's because each of you are smiling at each other. And you're exact reciprocity. That is the word. Do you know this concept?
No.
That is one of the main terms in this theory, reciprocity.
Oh.
Yeah, it is. And so I try to, when I think about music therapy and improvising with these clients, I think there is reciprocity where they're showing me and inviting me into a space that they are experiencing. And one of the techniques in music therapy is to play back what they've just played, and either in tempo, melody, rhythm. And so now I'm returning it back to them. I'm like, okay, I see you. I'm playing it. This is what you sound like to me, and I'm giving it back to you, and they can give it back to me. A lot of times they figure out that pattern. If we're playing a certain line and we're repeating it, they figure it out and they play it back to me. And so in this kind of resonance between each other, there's an opportunity for them to see how they're viewed by someone else, not just by themselves, these negative thoughts in themselves, but they are able to be who they are and then see who they are by someone else, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah. So
yes.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. Because, we're always going to be our harshest critic.
Exactly.
Especially when we are going through being I'm assuming teenager, but there are adults with eating disorders. Yes. Anyone who has that need for control or hates feeling out of control, like it's awful.
Yeah.
But allowing yourself to make those mistakes, or allowing yourself to say, I'm going to let you tell me how I sound.
Yeah, exactly. And
I feel like in a world where, especially with teens, because I'm using that example because that's what you said you're working with, they are told you need to do this right.
Yeah.
Why don't you get this?
Yeah.
Like, there's so much pressure.
It's hard being a teenager.
Yes. Yeah. And so inviting them into a space where, hey, this is okay.
Yeah.
And it may sound, air quotes, wrong, but what's the next note?
Yeah, exactly.
It might sound wrong on its own, but what if you connect it?
Exactly.
What is one micro habit involving music that our listeners can start to lower their stress levels or find a sense of safety?
I think, honestly, I was thinking, how do you relate this to music? But more than music, it's really relating to yourself. And just taking a moment to really just pause and say, am I frustrated? Am I sad? Am I overwhelmed? And if that's what you're feeling and then you're like, I need to get it out, okay, then we can apply the music. Let's play that song that, where Billie Eilish is screaming at the end of it, and scream along. Or if you're really tired, put on that track that helps you fall asleep. I will mention there's this one thing called the ISA principle in music therapy, where we match the client's energy level with the music. So if I have like a really agitated patient or client, I'm going to be playing really agitated. And then I'm going to slowly start to go to a more calmer version of the music. And that helps them transition from an agitated state to a calm state as well, because they're attuned to the music. And you can do that on your own by finding high tempo songs, upbeat songs, and be agitating kind of songs if you're feeling that feeling. And if you want to go to a calmer state, then transitioning your playlist to a slower song, just gradually. It doesn't really work if you do two extremes, but gradually slower, and that can help you kind of get back to a grounded space.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like how, it's almost like tuning a guitar, but you're the guitar.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have a post about that, specifically using a guitar as the example. Yeah. I'll have to send it to you. Oh my gosh. You really get this.
Oh, thank you. I think I'm just vibing you.
I think you're a great listener. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're a great talker. I love listening to you. Your philosophy at Melody Turned Therapy is that every client is already whole, which I love that. How does that perspective change the way a client should view their own brokenness or trauma?
I would just hope that every client that I work with and have worked with know that they're a beautiful person and they're much stronger than they know or anyone else knows. A lot of these clients, eating disorder, autism, whatever, moms might feel like it's their fault or the kid might feel like it's their fault, and we actually just don't know anything. Genetics, environment, stress, what happened as a kid that you may not remember, or what's happening right now that you're not connecting to what's going on with you in music therapy. We just don't know.
Yeah.
And so to take that and recognize, okay, you're actually okay. And there are a lot of things outside of our control that are not your fault. And that's what I'd hope, because sometimes therapists, doctors, parents, families, it's like, if you don't do this, if we see this all the time with women or people with chronic illnesses, if you're not taking your daily walk, if you're not exercising, if you're not seeing the OBGYN, if you're not eating healthy, like, it's all your fault that these things are happening.
And don't get me started.
Right? And you can do everything and still be in the same position, and people will tell you it's your fault. And it's not. You're a whole person. You have everything you need to help yourself. And there are people in the world who are there to support you in helping yourself. And that's important to know. It's so empowering. Sometimes healthcare, unfortunately, is so disempowering. It should never be, because this is about the patient. This is about the client. This is about their life that you get insight into. For some of them, just 20 minutes. For some clients, a few months, a few years, but they have the rest of their life and before that they know that you don't know. But I just hope that everybody knows that, you are who you are, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not broken. You're
not broken. They're not broken. It came from a place where when I went to see a therapist, she told me, you may never heal. And at that time was so crushing to me, because I believed her. I thought, if I can't heal, then what's the point? Life is over. And how can you say that to a client? And what does she know? She doesn't know.
Yeah.
And
just like a teacher's been working too long. It's like, do something else.
Exactly.
Like, you're jaded.
You're jaded, 100%. So that's why I put it in my website, because I don't want anyone to feel like that. They have what they need. You have what you need. I have what I need, to get through life in a way that is meaningful and purposeful for ourselves. And sometimes you just need someone to tell you that.
Yeah. You've mentioned that you grew up surrounded by music and learned early on how to connect with others. Your younger self saw music as a universal language. How does it feel to have taken that childhood wonder and grounded it into high-level science of neurologic music therapy?
It feels crazy. Sometimes I do think, if my younger self could see me now, what would she think? And I think she'd be really proud and really happy and very satisfied. Things didn't go as planned for me, as it happens with everybody. But I feel grateful for where I am, and I feel grateful for the self-love that I can feel within myself when I think and do those mind exercises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say, like, your childhood self would be super proud of you.
Yeah.
And I know, like, we have all these expectations of, like, what our life will or won't look like.
Yeah.
Do you stop and just go, like, but girl, like, I am in a really cool place. Like, I just want you to know, like, you're in a really cool place.
I do feel that way. I do feel to be a business owner at a young age is incredible. And I know it's going to open a lot of doors for me in the future to have this as my foundation. Yeah.
Yeah. And it just goes back to what you said. Like, you're a whole person.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you have to look at yourself in this moment and go, like, I love me right where I'm at. Is it the end goal? No.
Right.
But I love me right now.
Yes. And it's so easy for me to tell you, this is what I want for my clients. And oftentimes hard for me to practice for myself. So yeah, I'm glad to have this reflection right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you deserve it.
Thank you.
And all of your dreams will come true.
Thanks. I'm so glad you're mentioning this, because I try to help my clients to see the reality. Whether you get that chord perfectly on the first try or not, you're learning the ukulele. Yeah. Whether we hit the right note in the improvisation or not, we just played a song and you were able to move on and be vulnerable. It's all about what's really happening, not what we tell ourselves, which may not really be what's happening. So I appreciate that.
Cela, if you could leave the world with just one healing frequency, a single truth about our ability to recover and find harmony, what would that be? And how would we start listening for it today?
This one was a hard one.
Yeah.
I see parents who maybe defer to a doctor, but they know something's off. And I see kids who, are trying to do what everyone wants them to do, but it just is not right for their body. It's just not right for their diagnosis. And you just have to trust yourself because, again, you are a whole person. You are stronger than you know, and you have everything within you to heal. And even if you're not getting that support, if you just lean in on yourself and who you are and what you feel and know to be true, again, in reality, what's really happening, it's really so empowering. Yeah.
You're making me feel like you look at people like they are the music.
Oh, that's beautiful. And they really are. They really are. And that's the difference, again, musician and therapist. I can come in and be like, okay, preschooler, let's do ABCs, go whatever, blah, blah, blah. And we may use those songs. But these songs have a completely different meaning to each kid that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they really are.
Yeah, well, you can take that and use it on your website. You are the music. If you're up for it, before we end our interview today, I would love to do a couple fun little rapid fires.
Yes, let's do it.
Because it's super fun. If a song lyric is stuck in your head, what is it trying to tell you about your internal state?
I honestly don't know. I was like, I don't know. And I think, that's for you to know and for me to help you find out, maybe.
Oh, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, let's figure it out together.
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
What you do.
Exactly. So
I think it's okay not to know.
100%.
And like, we'll
100%.
Either we'll figure it out together or we'll work on figuring it out.
Yeah. Or figure out what to do with it. Yeah.
Or like I tell my son, just go listen to the song.
If it's just turn it on. Exactly.
Because he'll walk around singing the same lyric like 47 times.
I understand that. I'm the same way.
It's honest. Vinyl, CD, or streaming?
Okay. Streaming for the ease.
Okay.
CD for the nostalgia. And then vinyl for the ambiance. Yeah.
It's so true. When I am like, especially if it's raining outside, my record player goes on.
It's just cozy.
It's a vibe.
Yes.
The crackling of
yes.
Okay, I love that you had like what's your go-to I need to get pumped up song?
Right now it's Get Busy by Sean Paul.
Yes. Sean Paul.
Sean Paul. Yeah.
That's
exactly.
amazing. I love some old school. I love some old school Sean Paul. That's amazing. What do you need to get pumped up for that? Like, is it like gym, running? Is it like going to see a client? You're like
going to the club. Yeah, going to see a client.
Is that what you want to say?
Oh my god, that's club. But yeah, driving down to work or whatever when I'm seeing clients. Yeah, get pumped. Yeah,
yes.
Get busy for sure.
Oh, I
get
love
busy,
that.
Girl,
yeah.
Yes.
You've mentioned that even 30 seconds of humming can help center someone. Why does that work so well for our nervous system?
This relates to the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve kind of controls these automatic parts of our body, like goosebumps, heart rate, breathing rate. So when you're stimulating that nerve, you're stimulating those processes that can automatically calm you down. And so humming, the vocal cords run along where the nerve is. So when you're humming, you're physically stimulating that nerve, and that can help you to calm down.
Morning reset or evening unwind?
It just depends on what you need.
That's
fair. Yeah.
For you, what's your go-to? Are you like a morning?
In my heart, I desire to be a morning person.
Okay.
But not really. Right now, that's not where I am.
That's okay.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know. I would love to have some sort of morning reset that can help me become a little bit more up to it in the mornings, but maybe it's evening unwind for me right now. Yeah.
I think you just have to listen to where you're at.
Exactly.
Right where you're at.
Thank you. Exactly.
What's a song you secretly love but is totally off-brand as a therapist?
I was thinking, right now it's Get Busy. Okay. Sometimes I'm thinking about a post and I'm thinking, oh, what music should I put on my Instagram post? And then I'm like, can't you, like right now it was Get Busy. Can't use that.
Fair enough.
Not child friendly. And so yeah, I have some songs like that, but most of the other songs are pretty normal. They're just not. When you're singing like apples and bananas, I like to eat apples and bananas like 20 times a day. Yeah. Then choosing a Radiohead song kind of feels like this is the total opposite of what we're doing right now.
But Radiohead goes hard.
Goes hard.
I love Radiohead. I love you.
Me too.
It's so true though, and sometimes it's the vibe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is
apples and bananas aren't always the vibe.
exact. It's the vibe one time around. One vowel.
Yeah. One of my kids is 4, so
yeah, you get it.
I'm deep into apples and bananas.
Oh my goodness. It's a fan favorite,
Yeah,
so gotta bring it out.
Yeah, and it's been around for a lot longer than us, than either of us. So
and it will be. It'll be around when we're gone.
After we're gone. In your experience at Melody Turned Therapy, what is one word that describes the moment a client finally reconnects to themselves?
Eye-opening. 2 words, but hyphenated.
Yes.
We'll make it 1 word. It's very eye-opening. I think for the client, if it's a kid, who's there with their parent, it's very eye-opening for the parents. I've had parents at the hospital say, like, they haven't smiled, they haven't, they've not been themselves in so long, but now they are after the session, things like that. And it's eye-opening for me too, because I don't really know these people. It takes months and years to grasp somebody, and if you're seeing them one time once a week, it takes a long time to get to know them. But when they make those connections, it's so eye-opening. It's like, okay, this is who you are. Like, this works for you. Like, it's eye-opening for me that this kid wants to listen and play to the piano. You're someone who likes to listen, and you're someone who wants to play. So once it's eye-opening, we can figure out what to do together and work towards those goals. So I think all around, very eye-opening.
I just have to say, I'm so thankful for this time we've had together.
Thank you. I'm also very thankful.
It's just what you do, not only your education, which is incredibly impressive, but what you've turned your education into, and seeing people, because I feel like anyone can go in, not anyone, but people can go in and they can say, okay, we're going to do this song, but to see people.
Thank you. To
see people right where they're at, to love them where they're at, and to help them get towards a goal, whatever that looks like for them, is a gift.
Thank you. Thank
you for sharing that gift with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh.
I was like, I showed my mom your message when you messaged me on Facebook about the podcast. I was like, OMG, like, look at this.
Yeah. You've arrived. Your people are reaching out to you.
Thank you.
And it will be the first of many things that continue to just grow you, and you're going to do amazing things.
Thank you.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we did it.